fuck that. But wise choice for clicking on this video. The most asked question I get as a filmmaker is how much money do I charge for this job? Well, in this video, you won't just get a detailed breakdown of how much money to charge relative to your city worked out by this math genius, as well as how much to charge for your brand deals on YouTube videos based on analytics worked out by these two guys, which I'll get into later in this video. But your knowledge and understanding of how to make money making films or online content is about to skyrocket. In a recent Time magazine article, they conducted an academic study into YouTube, and their findings indicated that 96.5% of YouTubers do not even make enough money from YouTube alone to surpass the US poverty line. To put this into perspective, out of 114 million active YouTube channels worldwide, active meaning uploading more than once a month, less than 4% of them can live off of solely relying on YouTube. Therefore, is turning filmmaking and content creation into a viable career an elusive dream, or are you just going about it in the wrong way? Throughout my 20-year journey as a filmmaker, collaborating with some of the biggest names on the platform,
Dan Mace is exponentially more talented than I am.
He's one of the most creative people on YouTube.
He's one of the greatest creators in the creator space.
And spending the last 3 years working side by side with MrBeast.
Whatever we upload on Beast Philanthropy, I'm fully leaning on him. If the video's God tier, it's because of him. If the video is the worst, it's also because of him.
I've created a secret formula that will prove to you that it's definitely not an unattainable dream. So if you haven't made it yet, you're purely doing it wrong. In this video, you're going to learn how to master the art of capturing and retaining viewers' attention. You will cultivate a large and loyal audience, be able to produce the films you've always envisioned, launch successful ventures, and choose the narratives you wish to share. This 5-step strategy doesn't just place you amongst the top creators, but allows you to build a fulfilling career without compromising your passion, your purpose, and your integrity. Whether you're an aspiring content creator or a seasoned filmmaker, the principles I'll discuss apply universally. Let's get into step 1. Who the hell are you? If I asked you how much money you want to make as a content creator on YouTube or a filmmaker per month, you most definitely or probably have a figure in mind. But if I had to ask you to define your content in 3 words, what would you say? If you can't answer that question definitively, well, then you haven't taken the first step into developing yourself as a brand. First, it's about crafting your brand image. This isn't about logos or colors, all that other stuff that links to identity, iconography, and so on. This is about tone, style, value, and presence. Who are you? Are you the quirky storyteller, the polished film director? Are you the mad scientist with a camera? A helpful tool I always advise others on when helping them develop their YouTube channels is to go around to their peers, to their family, to their friends, and find out what qualities they like in you most. What is it that they don't like? What is it that they like? What do they value about you? I know it seems like a strange question, but this is gonna help you find your point of difference, your uniqueness, your originality, and then you'll build your content around this voice. And now once you have that, here comes the difficult part. And this is where you're gonna need to be really honest with yourself. I've written a bunch of questions that are tailored to this so that you can study later, compare it to the other notes, and then figure out how we're gonna build your image. What is it that I actually care about enough to talk about every week for 5 years? What values do I want to stand for publicly? What parts of my personality am I most comfortable showing online? What am I insecure about that could become my relatable strength on camera? Who am I talking to when the camera is on? Get super specific here. Age, their life goals, gender if needed, and hobbies. What problems does my audience have that I can actually help solve or speak to? What kind of community do I want to build around my content? Would I watch my own videos if I were the viewer? This is the hardest question to answer. But this will 100% give you a really solid understanding of what and who your brand is. Spend a lot of time doing this, as this will be your foundation. Even go through these questions 2 or 3 times. You need a really deep foundation, as after this video, your brand is going to become the never-ending high-rise it deserves to be. Once you've cracked these questions, it is time to move on, which is to build your 3 content pillars. These pillars are a guide you can always return to when you're ideating for your next film you create. Always think, does this idea correlate with my brand pillars? This is a roadmap to follow with constraints, yes, but constraints are good. They make you more creative and to follow a guideline. So if you only made content in 3 lanes, what would they be? Burnout comes from this perpetual cycle cycle of not really knowing what to do next. Asking yourself the question of how am I possibly going to beat my highest performing film? And that's what we are avoiding here. Write down your content pillars based on what kind of YouTuber or filmmaker you are. A podcaster, an investigative journalist, a cinematic filmmaker, whatever it may be. Everything can work, even a seamstress. I've done 2 different examples here to help you navigate these 3 pillars. Example number 1, a filmmaker. Pillar number 1, short films about interesting subject matter. Pillar number 2, behind the scenes of these pieces of art. And pillar number 3, film reviews. Example number 2, the fashion enthusiast. Pillar number 1 is trend discussions and culture commentary. Pillar 2, style transformation videos. Pillar 3, audience-driven design challenges. You can jump around and get experimental with these 3 different pillars, but having a clear content map is what makes longevity possible. Otherwise, you're just winging every upload. Then lastly, talk about what you know. If it's not authentic, it's just not gonna last. For me, I understand this really well because I've gone down this road of trying to follow trends, but then I get lost. It's the stuff that I don't actually know about. I don't understand it, and then I can only make 2 or 3 videos about that subject matter, and there's gonna be another channel with somebody who knows a lot more about the subject matter than I do, and they're just gonna overtake me with this kind of content. There is no worse feeling than turning the camera on, beep, and then having to fake it and pretend that you're interested in making a film which you're actually really not. And you just want to veer clear of that. Essentially, passion leads to consistency, and consistency leads to growth. This builds a consistent archetype of viewers with a shared interest. It builds a community of people that will keep returning to the videos you create. Essentially, it's building an army of people that truly believe in you. Because after a while, consistently watching your videos, they get to know you and understand you for who you are. And then making videos becomes a lot easier. As I said, in the beginning, it's going to be so tempting to try and follow trendy ideas and just jump onto new subject matter that you know is going to get you the views. I understand the feeling of just that blue line going straight to the top and getting these great views. I even call it view juice. It's very dangerous because it becomes addictive. It becomes affirming. And this is what you want to stay clear of. You have to stay clear. You got to think long term. This is about slow growth. To sum this up, interested is interesting. It's enthusiasm. People love to watch enthusiastic people. No matter how boring the subject matter may be, if the person in front of camera is super into what they're doing, it's fun to watch. And that person obviously understands that subject matter, and you can learn a lot from that. And for the filmmakers and the purists that are like, I don't know about YouTube, YouTube is the new cinema. It's a place to host your films. It's not just a platform, it's your stage. It's a place where you can showcase your raw, authentic films where nobody's telling you what's right or what's wrong, and you get real life feedback and commentary. That's scary to get, but you get audiences that tell you and they feedback, and let me tell you, the audience can be brutal at times. Say things that you don't want to hear, but usually the stuff you don't want to hear is the true stuff. But it's a place that you can learn and grow and become better at what you do. And if you crack this YouTube code, and I can speak from experience here, you get to have the greatest job in the world. It's without a doubt a place where you are able to just make the films that you want to make and to get paid to make those films. It's creative freedom, it connects dots with so many people all around the globe. And yes, the money can also be really great. That's an added benefit. And I guess that's what this film's about. How are we gonna get to that? Step 2, how to pay the bills while you grow. This is not about selling out. This is about staying in the game long enough to be undeniable. The harsh truth, what you are truly passionate about, what you are thinking about right now, won't pay the bills. Just yet. Look, this part of the journey isn't glamorous. You've got this pipe dream of becoming this creative filmmaker or content creator as a full-time job, but there's this elephant in the room called reality. That reality is paying for food, paying for rent, paying for transport, just paying for life. So here's another question you need to ask yourself. How badly do I really want this? Because if the answer is hard enough to work my ass off, well then welcome to the grind. And the good news is that you don't have to sell your soul to survive while you build. This is my favorite formula. I use it all the time. It's called the focus formula, which is progress equals potential over interruption. This formula has saved my career more than once. You've got the potential, everyone does. You wouldn't be watching this video or be here if you didn't. Just think about it like this. Take your day from say 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. If that's your working day, that's you realistically going, I can work for that amount of time per day and take every Saturday and Sunday off, or I want to really grind and work Saturdays and Sundays, whatever. This is a practice for you. And then you've got everything on this side, which is pretty much everything. It's making films, running, seeing friends, visiting family, watching Netflix, going to parties, downtime, learning how to play a new instrument, learning a new language, trading stocks. You get where I'm headed with this. Now, if I took all of this stuff and I put it over here, this isn't going to be possible. How am I supposed to finish all of this stuff in one day? So what I do is I categorize this, I put what's most important at the top, and in this sense, it would be your filmmaking career, your YouTube career, and then everything else underneath that. And you dedicate your time to that and take all your interruptions, which might be learning a new language for now or learning how to play a new instrument, and put it over here in the interruptions folder where you can visit it later when your career is soaring. But don't try and do too much right now. You are gonna have to sacrifice a lot in order to make this dream possible. And now obviously you actually have to generate income while you build your channel, unless you have a large trust fund and you can, just start. But for most people, 99.9% of the people watching this video are gonna have to work part-time or have a full-time job and then do this when they can. And hopefully the job that you take on that pays the bills is something within your sphere. It's something that you can learn from. 10 years ago, when I got Twitter for the first time, I made my bio eternal student of human behavior. And this is still true today. This basically means no matter what the job is, I was doing all kinds of things. I was a jams salesman, selling jam to people out the trunk of my car.
Like peanut butter and jelly jams?
Yeah, like jam, like strawberry.
That was life before the Young Directors Award.
Yeah.
That was life of a jam salesman.
Dude, life of a jam salesman is deep, dude.
At that point, I was pretty much doing anything for money, but I was observing people. I was observing stories. I was psychologically learning what people wanted and how to engage with people. And storytelling is the number one thing that people want. So it doesn't really matter what the job is, as long as you're learning and progressing, and then also treating this job as something that is a 9 to 5, because it's not the be all and end all, and you got to get home and graft on your YouTube channel and building that out. But remember, this is something that you're using for the now in order to pay the bills while you build the foundations for your YouTube channel or your website for your filmmaking career, etc. If you are a filmmaker, a designer, something in the creative world, there are places to still get work as a freelancer, like Upwork or Fiverr, shooting wedding videos and real estate videos. You might even find a niche that somebody needs. This isn't gonna blow your mind creatively, but at least, like I said, it's gonna bring in money while you grow your channel. You can become a PA or assistant on film sets. This will help you network and as well as learn a lot, and it'll teach you how to work really hard. Social media content manager for small businesses, I see this all the time, or teaching filmmaking to beginners, starting video courses, or just doing one-on-one tutorials, or creating videos and selling them. It's not always pretty, but it pays the bills. This will help you to start creating without waiting for permission. You don't need brand deals or a million views to get started. That'll come. Use what you've got, post what you make, and build while you're broke. This isn't some Gary Vee motivational speech on how to work tirelessly every single hour, every single minute of every day until you eventually just burn out. No, breaks are important, but you are gonna have to say no, and like I said earlier, you are gonna have to sacrifice things. Nobody can just suddenly pop out of nowhere and become great without sacrificing and saying no to things that look really fun and all the attractive, great things around you. And use this time now, put it in and think long term, think down the pipe, because trust me, it is so worth it. Once you're ready and you've started to develop this relationship between your job and the one that's this incredible hobby that will eventually become your full-time job, which is content creation, you now need to start making more consistent work, uploading more consistently, sticking to yourself, and then figure out how to survive while doing it. This stage does not last forever, but it is what separates those who talk and brag about being content creators and social media experts and filmmakers from those that actually are. On to the next step. Step 3, getting seen. Once you've created your brand and figured out how to balance the work that you don't want to show versus the YouTube work you do want to show, like the age-old saying, some for show, some for dough, it's now time to focus on getting those videos views, 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 views. Where you're going to put all of your time and energy to create this masterpiece, but not just one masterpiece. Every video is going to be a masterpiece after a masterpiece after a masterpiece. Speaking from a lot of experience here, before clicking upload, there's so much excitement, but there's also a lot of nerves, and yeah, it's more scary than it is exciting. But then there's no worse feeling than pressing upload, feeling this anticipation and just getting no views. And this isn't because your videos suck. This is because you've missed a step. The main problem is that you believe YouTube is a video platform. It's not. It's an attention platform. You can make what you believe to be the greatest film, but if you don't have a great thumbnail, a great title, a great hook, something that's going to keep the average view duration for long enough to maintain retention, YouTube's just not going to favor it. People aren't going to click. Because why should they care? Unfortunately, it is such a saturated space. You have to stick out from the norm. It's literally about spending 50% of your time crafting the title, the thumbnail, the hook that correlates to the thumbnail and the title, so that when people click on the video, they know they're getting what they clicked on and it's not just clickbait. You need to focus on the story, fleshing out the story, with still giving it space to breathe and to find its own nuance when you start navigating your way through the story. And then it's about spending the other 50% actually shooting the video and then editing the video. But these parts will be much easier if you put all that effort and emphasis onto that first 50%. And also the main thing that I've found as a filmmaker and a content creator is that I have these ideas and they sound great and ambitious, but then it takes me forever to come up with a title and a thumbnail and a hook. And this means that I should probably toss that idea out, because if I can't even understand it properly or describe it in one sentence, how's the audience going to be able to understand it? But I can go on about this for hours, literally for hours, and I made a 3-hour-long masterclass on this subject matter, where I go behind the scenes onto a MrBeast videos where we get millions of views, and how we plan this, how we shoot this, how we edit it, the whole process in order to maximize views and just make the greatest videos possible. So if you want to watch that video, I've put it below, but I would suggest watching that after this video. I also have another secret weapon, which is the sponsor of this video, so it actually really makes sense. It's very cool to connect like this with a sponsor, OpusClip, and this will make sense later as well because it's all part of the secret formula. OpusClip is an AI tool that literally finds the best moments in your long form videos based on visuals, audio, even emotional cues, and then instantly turns them into viral ready clips for TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Reels. The first time I used it, Keegan, you're fired.
What?
I just don't need you anymore. OpusClip has taken your place. You'll be missed. But back to OpusClip. And here's the really rad part, and maybe Keegan can enter. OpusClip is hosting a community competition. Just post a clip you made with the tool, say what you love about it, or what you think OpusClip will be in 5 years. Use the hashtag OpusClip and grow, and tag OpusClip. That easy. Every single person that enters gets 5 hours of free editing credits, and one creator's walking away with a brand new 14-inch MacBook Pro and $5 grand in cash. The link and more information is in the description, so go win, or at least start making better clips faster. No, you can't have a job. Back to the video. So yeah, with short form content, it has never been easier for someone to see your work, because you can utilize short form content to break your long form videos into multiple shorts and then keep posting these shorts that will direct them to your main video. And there's a far higher chance of your video getting seen and eventually going viral, and just for your face to get seen, for facial recognition, and for people to know who you are with the more videos that you've put out. And sometimes when shooting long form pieces of content, something within that video may make sense for short form, or something that you may not really use in that video, but there's a great moment. When shooting long form content, which should be your focus, always be thinking about short form content and spin-offs. When it comes to short form content, there's no real secret formula to the algorithm, where rather the people are the algorithm. So shareability is the algorithm, likes, comments, but yeah, mainly shareability, and again, create something that you would want to watch. At this stage in the video, hopefully you now understand how to make great YouTube videos. Now the time has come, the exciting time, what the thumbnail and the title suggests, which is how to actually make money making films and utilizing different platforms in order to do so as a content creator or a filmmaker. Well done for making it here, because now the money starts. Step 4. Making real money. There are countless different ways to make money and to make really good money in the content space and as a filmmaker, content creator, YouTube, etc. And I'm going to talk about all of those in this section. So yeah, buckle up, because this is one hell of a section. I've done so many different calculations, which I'm really proud of. I have worked with mathematicians. This is probably the first time somebody's ever worked out a mathematical equation of how much you should charge based upon where you live and your living standard index as a filmmaker. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the freelancing filmmaker. Then I'm going to talk about the full-time employee. And then I'm going to talk about YouTube sponsorships and brand deals. Everything in here is based on the US dollar currently in New York City. And then I've taken this amount and I've altered it based upon your living standard index within your city. It sounds really complicated, but it's really easy to understand. Basically, where I am right now in South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa, it is 65% cheaper than in New York City. And that includes rent, food, fuel, electricity, transport, everything. There is only one very big rule here. Do not undercut the market. Just don't sell yourself short. Don't be cheaper because other people are more expensive. You're not only harming yourself, but you're harming the industry as a whole. We as filmmakers, we need to stand together and have a certain price point that we charge, because that's what we need to charge. It's a common thing for clients to go, oh well, I'll hook you up next time with a better gig, or I'll pay you a bit more next time. Bullshit. Don't do that. Never do that. This is broken down into 3 different sections, and sometimes you're not on the entire project, which does make things more complicated, but it happens this way. Pre-production, which is everything that happens before the shoot, scheduling, budgeting, etc. Then production, which is the actual shoot. And lastly, post-production, which is editing, packaging, and delivering it to the client. I have broken it up into 3 different sections if you're not on all 3 phases of the production process. So 1 being pre-production. Pre-production is a lot easier to work out than the next phase, which is production. And pre-production, other than budgeting and scheduling, is also for the director and the filmmaker, it's the ideation phase. That's what's most important here, working out how much time that's going to take. And this usually includes the creation of a treatment, storyboarding, scheduling, and budgeting. Now, this process of budgeting is very important, as for pre-prod, you're going to need to understand how much you are quoting out for the shoot, as pre-pro is the total cost of the shoot divided by 2, which is 50% of the actual shooting days. Let's say, for instance, I'm an average filmmaker, not the greatest, but I'm hardworking and I consider myself good. I've been asked to shoot a film that I worked out based on the idea would take about 3 days to shoot, with 1 recce day, along with all my gear. When looking at pre-production costs, which I'll take you through below, the shoot is going to cost $5,000 US based on the living index in New York City, which means the total cost of pre-production in this case is $2,500. Remember, this is not based on where you live or your location. To get this relative to my cost of living, go to numbeo.com, and type in the total amount for New York City, as well as where you are in your city, and then it'll do a calculation and it'll work out how much that is based on your city. And then using Cape Town, South Africa, for instance, which is 65% less expensive than New York City, it takes you to $875 US or 15,750 Rand. Remember that this is for clients that are based in your city. So if they're paying in US dollars and you are working in US dollars, then that's what this is for. If you have an international client paying in US dollars, but you are working in rands, you can charge in US dollars. This is based upon charging clients that are from the same area, so it's fair on both sides, just to get that straight. Then production, which is the actual shoot. This is worked out as follows. 1, your experience level, which is either medium or pro. Pro meaning 5 or more years in the professional industry or notable awards as a filmmaker. 2, the amount of recce days. Recce days are location scouting, technical camera, and lighting tests. 3, the amount of days you will shoot, broken into half days and full days. This includes travel time as well. 4, the gear you will be using. 5. Per diems. 6. Vehicle. 7. Insurance. 8. Overtime. 9. Usage fees. In order to work this out, you take your experience level, which is 2,500 USD in New York City per day as a pro, or 1,000 US dollars per day as a medium level filmmaker. And then for half day rates, halve this amount plus 15% of the overall amount, and you have your half day rate. Plus the amount of Reiki days, which is 50% of your shooting day rate, as well as then times this by the amount of shooting days. Plus all your gear, which you charge out at 5% of the total cost of all your gear together. Plus per diems, which are standard at 65 US dollars per day. Plus your vehicle or transport costs, which if driving your own vehicle is 2 US dollars per kilometer. Plus insurance for your gear per day, which is 0.25% of your total gear costs. And plus usage fees. This means the client owns the footage in perpetuity. This is usually included in your agreement, but if they haven't, then add a small cost on this, which would be around 150 US dollars per day of shooting. Lastly, plus your overtime, and this is what is worked out afterwards. But make sure this is evident in your quote, which will add to your invoice, which states that every hour over 12 hours, you start to charge 1.5 times your hourly rate. As I worked out in pre-production based on the idea, I would need to shoot for 3 days with 1 Reiki day, along with all my gear including lights, which is the total cost of 6,500 US dollars, and the driving around, which would be around 60 to 100 kilometers in my own vehicle. With the equation above, this would cost 4,988 US dollars and 75 cents, which I rounded up to 5,000 USD for 3 days of shooting and 1 Reiki day of my time with gear as a standard filmmaker. This relative to my cost of living in Cape Town, South Africa, for instance, is 65% less expensive than New York, which takes it to $1,750, which is 32,375 Rand. If you're wondering how I got to this number, it's a pretty intense equation, but for legitimacy, and it's gonna play out now. But if you're not, I've put some puppies that you can watch while the numbers roll out. Let's get into it. 1,000 times 3, which is 3,000, 3,000 plus 500, which is 3,500, 3,500 plus 975, 4,475, 4,475 plus 195 is 4,670, 4,670 plus 120 is 4,790, 4,790 plus 48.75 is 4,838.75, 4,838.75 plus 150 is 4,988.75. In the description, what I've done is added the calculations for all major cities in the world relative to being a medium filmmaker and having a total gear cost of around 6,500 US dollars. And then post-production. This is also far easier to work out than the production phase. That was a lot. If you aren't editing the job yourself, what you do is you add 25% on what you charged for the shoot, and this will be your director's fee for overseeing the process of post-production. But if you are editing the job, the post-production process works as follows. You need to be able to understand how long it will realistically take you to edit the requirements. Most clients nowadays are asking for short form, mid form, and multiple different aspect ratios. The most efficient way of doing this, which helps the client as well as you with your own scheduling, is for a mid to good level editor along with basic color grading experience, charging $850 per day, or a cheaper rate but more efficient of 4,000 US dollars per 5 days. For a 3-day shoot, this phase would never really extend longer than 10 days, meaning your total cost for post-production is 8,000 US dollars, or relative to the South African Rand in Rands would be 50,400 South African Rand. Meaning that if you did this entire shoot from pre-production to post-production, packaging and getting it to the client, would be around 18.5 days in total. The full cost of the project for a New York City-based medium-level filmmaker would be 15,500 US dollars. And using the relative scale in South Africa, it would cost rounded up to 100,000 South African Rand. And you can also work this out obviously to your own city by using the site I specified below. Now we're going to talk about full-time employment, which is being employed by a company to do essentially what you really want to do as a filmmaker, if it's editing, shooting, even starting as a PA and working your way up. And what do you charge for this? How do you work this amount out when going for an interview and the boss sits there and goes, "What is your number? How much do you charge?" Well, I'm going to help you with that right now. And then I'm going to take you through branding your YouTube videos with either integrations, brand reads, or dedicated videos. Okay, let's change the environment. If it's the full-time employment route that you're looking to go for, I totally understand, and I actually think that this is a great route. In my film production studio here in Cape Town, Joe, I have 15 employees where we have the greatest company culture, and no matter if you're an editor, producer, director, everybody gets involved in the process and the actual creating of the films. Even the junior editors versus the senior editors, everybody here gets to learn from each other. So if it is this route you're looking to go down, make sure that the company culture really matches your ethos and what it is that you want to do. The worst thing is to be working in a toxic environment or where your boss is just a dick. And for me, I like to think that my staff don't think that way of me, besides Keegan.
But please!
See, even he still wants his job. Your monthly salary obviously varies based on your experience and position, but I'm going to give you some figures so that you more or less understand how much you should be asking for in the position that you're going for. For a junior editor position, I pay between 25,000 to 32,000 South African Rand, which is around 2,700 US dollars if you're living in New York City, by the living standard index that we've been going by this entire time. I don't think I need to explain that anymore. And then for a senior editor role, it's anywhere between 65,000 to 75,000 Rand per month, which is around 5,500 US dollars if you're living in New York City. Then for somebody who edits as well as shoots, gets paid around 45 to 50,000 Rand, which is around 4,500 US dollars if you're living in New York City. Then there's tons of other positions, but those are kind of the main ones to explain here. Now speaking about brand deals and brand integrations and CPM and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of moving variables here, so I'm just going to take you through kind of the high level stuff. Once you gain more than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you'll start to get paid what's called CPM. The average CPM is between $2 to $12. It really ranges depending on your content. If you swear a lot, if it's kid-friendly, if it's educational, also if you have a high AVD, it's also dependent on where you live. So overall, it's about $4 to $6 per 1,000 views. Unless you're clocking in millions of views per month, this isn't really a way to sustain a living off of YouTube. So enter brand deals. Now, brand deals are broken up into dedicated videos and brand integrations. Brand integrations are generally between a 45-second to sometimes a 70-second, sometimes even longer brand read. That's where the camera will cut away and someone will speak to the camera and present a brand of sorts, like I did in this video for OpusClip. Then a dedicated video is a video where the entirety of the video is about that brand. Say for instance, Insta360 just brought out a brand new camera, and now you need to create a video that's about that camera. And doing it this way is kind of difficult because you are essentially making one big ad, but there are ways of being creative with this and doing something really cool. I've done this a lot of times. Now, when it comes to numbers and how much to charge, this is very, very difficult to work out. And now when it comes to numbers and how to work this out, how much to charge per brand deal, I would say the best thing to do is to get a really good manager. Get somebody that understands how much you should be worth to that brand. And this is all brand specific. For a channel with 1 million subscribers with reasonably good engagement, should be getting between $30,000 to $35,000 per brand read. And then for a dedicated video, it can go anywhere between $60,000, $70,000, sometimes $80,000. Those are very rough figures, and it is different for every creator. The modern creator economy rewards diversification, and relying solely on YouTube AdSense is no longer enough. To survive and thrive, you should treat your skills as a product and use platforms strategically to maximize your income. Platforms like Patreon or Ko-Fi allow even a small loyal fan base to directly support you, with the average Patreon creator earning around $150 to $500 per month with just 30 to 50 supporters. Offering behind-the-scenes content or tutorials can become a stable income. Beyond that, your filmmaking knowledge has real market value. Platforms like Skillshare, Udemy, or Gumroad let you package your knowledge into digital products, from the creation of LUTs to actual full filmmaking courses. Top Gumroad creators make on average more than $1,000 per month selling niche filmmaking tools. And then there's freelance marketplaces like Fiverr, Upwork, and Contra that allow you to monetize editing, storytelling, or production skills, with many freelancers earning $500 to $2,000 per month within their first year. YouTube can also drive traffic to your own marketplace, your own website. If you want to utilize your website to sell merchandise, if you want to sell your own courses that you've created or sound packs that you've created on your own website, you can easily do that too. By diversifying, you create multiple income streams, build brand resilience, and position yourself for long-term creative freedom. And speaking about sound packs, something that I'm just so excited about. I've been working on it for a really long time, which are downloadable sound packs, where you can focus on the story and the sounds can handle the rest, because these sounds aren't made for audio engineers, they are made for filmmakers and for YouTube creators. We don't talk about this enough as filmmakers and content creators, especially when focusing on retention and beefing out your videos and making them more visceral and feel just real. And that is that sound makes up at least 50% of your picture. It shouldn't be the throwaway afterthought. It usually is. I speak from experience when finishing a cut and I'm like, I wish I could have more time to add more sounds. Because usually you would have to go into big sound libraries and scroll for hours trying to find the perfect sound. Oh, it's just a mission. Even with these new AI sounds, human beings know the difference between AI and real sound. And I'm not anti-AI, I'm actually very pro-AI. However, with sound, with this, we as humans inherently know what something sounds like when it's real. AI sounds have not been lived. The human ear is an unbelievably sensitive instrument. It has over 3,500 inner hair cells. It can pick up the tiniest shift in texture and tone, which means your audience can feel when a sound isn't true. You may not know exactly what's wrong, but you know something is just not right. Over the past 10 years, I've made songs out of bricks, bananas, peaches, out of butter, out of all kinds of things. And all of these are called diegetic sounds, which are real sounds that happen in front of camera. And together we have captured over 20,000 unique, real, raw sounds, including ambience of mountaintops, cities, farms, cows going moo, as well as I've recorded raw sounds in Antarctica. Pretty much everything and anything. And you can own those sounds too. So head over to danmacemasterclass.com. Currently there are 8 packs available. I've categorized them perfectly to help you make this process a lot easier. There's also all kinds of deals if you buy more than 3 packs and that sort of thing. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, this is sound rehumanized. Bringing the real shit back. The real shit. danmacemasterclass.com. I'll see you there. Well done for surviving that step. On to the next one. The final step. Relevance and reinvention. This is something all YouTubers and filmmakers, or all artists, even sportsmen, actually anyone. Relevance is the scariest thing. Once you have it, in comes the money, in comes the fame, in comes the network, the opportunities. Relevance leads to so much. And this is where it starts to become dangerous, is those that try and cling onto that relevance. It goes like this. All of a sudden, it feels like it happens overnight and people are taking selfies with you in the street and you start feeling great about yourself. You start going through the comment section. People are telling you that you're great. You feel awesome. You feel affirmed. And this starts to become your life. Now, that is really, really bad. And that will lead to immense burnout. Remember that phase like 3 or 4 years ago where I think every second YouTuber was uploading a video? I even did it. That said, I am quitting YouTube or I'm burning out. That was when we had sort of seen the first generation of YouTubers that used to be really relevant. Doesn't mean their work isn't great. It's just that the platform has changed. And that form of affirmation that I was getting and the other YouTubers were getting was kind of going away. And inclusive of this is one's lifestyle, because down goes the amount that you're getting paid for brand deals. Down goes the amount of merchandise you're selling and all the other side hustles that you have going on, because people just aren't clicking on the links anymore and engaging with you. And it sucks. It really, really does. But this is where you can reinvent. I've had to reinvent myself so many times in my career. I started off as a film director. I gained success there really quickly, but then I started to reach a point where I was directing in fields that I just didn't even understand the subject matter because I was so young. So I moved over to YouTube and I gained success there very quick because I worked with a famous YouTuber, Casey Neistat, and all of a sudden I got this level of fame and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm famous and I'm cool. Then it suddenly all went away when I started off by myself without Casey. And then I had to really grow my own YouTube career, which was really, really difficult. And as I was gaining my own subscribers, I was losing the subscribers that I gained through Casey. So it seemed like there was no growth. And I really had to learn this the hard way. I had to learn what it felt like to go up really quickly and then try and hold on from not falling. But I'm really lucky and I have great mentors that told me to not sacrifice. The spectrum is like this. How much am I willing to abandon to get the views? And we see this time and time again with other YouTubers that just start becoming prank channels and doing things that are just so crazy, even though there was someone that was completely different before. And It's really hard to see somebody abandon their principles to get views and lose sight of themselves. This isn't reinvention, that's desperation. And then after creating my own videos and starting to develop my own audience, I then shifted back to the TV world and I created a show for the Discovery Channel called The Brew Show. But then my mind got stuck into wanting to do YouTube again, so I went back to YouTube, but then I had to start at the bottom because my relevancy was really low. And it was at that point then where MrBeast phoned and he offered me a job to take over the Beast Philanthropy channel. So I started doing that and I absolutely love doing it. And I love my job, I truly do, every single day. And I've been able to hold onto my YouTube channel and make videos like this and investigative films. And I'm just about to start a podcast. And I'm really loving being a creator as well as at the same time being able to get paid to make such incredible philanthropic films. And who knows what the future holds. I'm aware that there's going to be a new set of reinvention at some point, but the relevancy kind of has stayed like this. And I'm lucky enough as a filmmaker to have always cemented my name as a filmmaker. And right now as I sit here, and you can call me out on it if I ever do sell my soul, but I will never change. And hopefully I'm always doing things like this and I'm not chasing the views. And with that being said, please go subscribe to my channel. It'll mean a lot.
Subscribe to Dan's channel.
And if you've made it the whole way to the end of this video, I really commend you. It means you've got what it takes and you've really got the drive. And I wish you all the best on your career, and comment below letting me know that you got here so that I know if I should continue making these educational videos. Cool, that was fun and I hope you got a lot out of that. Other than that, don't forget, you're awesome, brew, and I'll see you soon.